How's it going, guys? Welcome to episode, is it number 53 or 52, Tom? Are you keeping track?
I'm pretty sure it's 52.
52. Okay.
Well, see, we've been doing so much Weekly Bazaar in between Thors-Kin that it feels like it's like 54. So you're kind of counting how many times we talk, not how many episodes we've actually done.
It is getting quite confusing, but I think we're on 52. I think you're right, because I hit 51 last week, and I was like, I was waiting for 52 to be like the year anniversary type of thing, and I'm completely missed the show's year anniversary by about fucking 2-3 weeks. Like, it's crazy that we've done 51 shows, but yeah, we've been doing it a year. But I forget we had like a couple of weeks off and stuff, you know. But yeah, Thors-Kin Podcast is now a year old. Whoop! And we've grown and we've done really well, and we're still going. That's the most important thing. Today's show, I'm sat with my ever flamboyant, glamorous co-host Tom Bruno, sexy bastard.
Oh, you're so kind, sir. You know you're the sex symbol of this piece, so don't pretend.
With my sexy North Wales Telford accent. And joined with us today is Ash Wilding. He's a local independent director who I'm actually working with at the moment. We're going to talk about a bit more about that in the show. So say hi, Ash.
How's it going?
You're all right. Nice to have you on the show. And who have you got with you there today?
I've got LARA MILLARD, who is...
Hello, I'm also a co-writer for the film.
Oh,
yeah.
Woo!
People that do the real work.
Let's talk a bit about how me and Ash met. Okay. You're a director. You do animated movies, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I saw the post on Facebook. You were after voice actors, and I was kind of like venturing into that kind of. I've always been walking around the house fucking about with accents and things like that, and I always thought I could do this. I could do this. So I replied to your ad, and yeah, you quite liked what I could do with voices and things, and you threw me into your newest film, which was really kind of you, sir. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm quite fond of what Alex can do with his mouth, so I'm glad you are too.
I'm orally skilled. Okay, so first, before we get into the let's suck each other's dick part of the show.
Yeah, and lady dicks.
And lady dicks, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, don't forget lady dicks.
Tom loves a good lady dick.
My wife wears the pants in this family, so she has a lady dick.
You see her strapping that thing on, and you're like, oh, not again.
It's always an International Women's Day in my house. It is every day.
It's like that episode of Family Guy where it's like, ow, ow, ow. When's it my turn? We've got to give a shout out to a podcast. I've just dedicated a bit of time at the beginning of our show to shout out other podcasts, people that I've met along the way. And I'm going to give Scare Track a shout out. They're a local podcast to me, but they're awesome. Scare Track are fantastic. It's run by Mikey Stewart. He's got a couple of co-hosts too, whose names absolutely they escape me. But if you go on their Facebook page and on their websites and things, you'll be able to check that out. Now, what these guys do is something very cool, and I've never seen it on a podcast before. They go around all the scare parks around the UK. So I first saw them when they came to the Dana to do the prison escape. You know, walking around like the clumsy Irish chef. That's what I was doing there. And I was really impressed with what they do. Not just what they do, is how they do it, because their show is really professional. It's really great. In fact, actually, they have like a disclaimer at the beginning of the show saying, this show is not censored, so be prepared for foul language and blah, blah, blah. And I was just thinking, we should definitely do that because we're quite... We like the idea of being uncensored, and I think it's great to do like a little disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
What the name Scare Track, it made me think that they like listened to the amazing soundtracks to scary movies. I was like, ooh, that's intriguing. But going to scary attractions sounds way more fun.
And not just that, they cover movies and things, and I bet they have actually covered a bit of scare movie music and things, because they're quite dedicated like that. I was just listening to an episode in the garden while I was writing this episode, and Mikey, who's the front runner for the show, he did an interview with someone, and I was so impressed on how well he held the interview. You'll see now from this episode, I'm kind of just like, hey Ash, what the fuck's going on? And then we just have a really informal chat, like, and that's really cool. But not if you're trying to get the best out of who you're interviewing. So I'm quite in awe of how well he interviews people. So yeah, Scare Track, they're fantastic podcast, very professional. They sound fantastic. I'll put the link on our Facebook page now. Just give them a shout, a look, and hopefully you enjoy it. So there you go. Dick sucking over. Okay, on with the show. Ash, thank you for coming on again. I'm going to test you now. Okay. Okay, and we were umming and ahhing about whether to do this on the show or not, but I think me and Tom thought it would be a great idea, didn't we, Tom?
Well, you thought it was a great idea, and I agree with you because it is a great idea. It's the way to do things. It really is.
Right, I've got you on Facebook Messenger. So I'm going to send you an inanimate object that you have to... Okay, have you got a timer on your phone, Tom?
Yeah, if I had my phone on me.
I don't. I've got the timer, don't worry.
Okay.
I've got the
Phone's
timer.
ready?
Perfect. Yeah, how ill prepared I am for this episode. Alex is like, I got this great idea. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Hey, Tom, do you have the only piece I asked you to do? I'm like, no. Yeah.
Okay, for some reason I didn't get this ready, but I'm going to... Oh, fuck off.
My first... if you've ever looked at our podcast page, my first thing was a banana, which shows you how phallic and Alex likes to be. But regardless, so you guys do cartoons? Is that what I was hearing? Like, I know we're gonna talk more about this in a second, but is it like CGI cartoons or cartoons?
But I mainly do computer generated images, so yeah, CGI animated films. I want to try to do cartoons at some point, but I need some more training in that first before I go like full on to it. But I really want to specialize in real life films.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do real life films? I've wanted to do real life films ever since I saw. God, what was the first thing I saw that I was like, wow, that looks amazing? It was probably Back to the Future. I'm not gonna lie, Back to the Future. I rewatched it last night because how genius it is. But yeah, that or the 1970s version, Dawn of the Dead in the mall. Classic.
My second favorite zombie film. My first one is Day of the Dead. The one after.
Oh, that's ballsy to say. Bob the zombie beats out the fucking mall. Ooh, you're ballsy. Yeah.
Yeah, just check your settings. Make sure you just got using the one mic because you're cutting out just a little bit. Don't mean to.
I'm with you, my friend. Actually, like it went. I mean, I'm sure it's because we're using
a lot of juice.
Now.
Right, okay. Right, I'm going to send you this inanimate object, and I'm going to give you 90 seconds just to talk about this, okay? Ash, I'm going to leave this to you exclusively, not to cut you out, Lara, but I want Ash to see Ash sweat for a bit for 90 seconds, okay?
I'll give it the best shot.
Okay. It's sending, and I have the timer ready. Let me know when you get it.
Right.
On your marks, get set, go.
Well, it happens if you go out on a Friday night and you get absolutely hammered. Come on, think.
You don't have to guess it. It literally just.
Music by MC Hammer.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you use this object for?
For ploughing stuff. And for murdering people.
Ooh. It's a hammer. You can say hammer. You don't have to not say the word. Like when I just literally said talked about banana food because I'm fat. But yeah, you can. So MC Hammer, yeah, murder people. You know my movie. So how would you murder someone with a hammer?
I've just thought something really good.
Oh God!
I wish I could.
I'm out of ideas now.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna make you sweat too much. Okay, so I sent Ash a picture of a hammer, and basically, what we like to do is.
I was just thinking of the film Orphan.
Oh,
That works.
Misery. I've been like Kathy Bates beats it on a dude's legs with a fucking hammer, and he cripples them, and she's really upset about a book. And Stephen King wrote it when he was binged on cocaine.
What I found interesting about that is instead of Ash going for the practical, this is a tool with a wooden handle and a metal top that builders used to hammer nails in. He went straight for the horror movie in him. Straight.
A lot about you, Mike. The creativity, though, it's good. I liked it. That is a good way to introduce people, Alex. I like that when I'm not on the receiving end. It's way more interesting.
I wasn't gonna keep it going for too long. So she didn't do the 90 seconds, but I was quite intrigued. Psychologically, there's a lot to take from that. So thank you very much for that. Now,
No problem.
so you're a director. How long have you been doing these movies for then, roughly?
Well, I first started in filmmaking back in 2012 when it's weird how it started. I was at Telford College at the time and I was in an art class.
Mm-hmm.
I drew a picture in a book and don't know why. I got so many ideas from this drawing and I'm good at using computer games and video editing software. I tried to make my own film and that's how it basically started.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Fantastic. What was the drawing?
I've got the drawing and sorry. Connie.
It's okay. We like background ambiance. It's fine. Don't worry. It's usually Tom's kids. Like.
I unfortunately do not have the drawing anymore because unfortunately it got lost when we moved house. It was a picture of a man with a gun in a apocalyptic city. It was called Underworld.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. So what that picture? What did it spur you on to do then? What did you create from that one picture?
Well, because I'm a big fan of horror films in general and apocalyptic movies, so I wanted to try to create my own universe where nothing works anymore. People are just killing each other for the sake of it, like pure horror.
That's
I
cool.
try to that genre.
Really cool. See, when I imagine horror movies, because I like to imagine horror movies too, I always put my stuff in other people's worlds. So it just really speaks to your creativity that you actually want to make up your own world. It's a very daring thing to do, like a Stan Lee or Jack Kirby or some stuff.
Well, yeah, that's it.
That's fantastic. And where did you go from there? So you made this movie. What happened with it when you made it? Well, first of all, how long did it take for you to make your first movie?
My first movie took me 1 year and 2 months. But that
Really?
was no experience at all. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning as I was going along.
That's amazing. How old were you when you did that?
We're going back now. I think I must have been turning 18 at the time.
That's fantastic.
Really? You knew what you wanted to do at 18. That's another one of those awesome things to say.
Yeah, and
I mean, the one thing that did help was when I was making this film, I was quite drunk at the time as well.
well, the best ideas come usually from when you've had a few beers in you. I mean, the name Thors-Kin, which people consider to be quite a genius name for a podcast, it was one of those drunken ideas. I was just like, I want to make it sound as much like a penis as possible, but without offending people.
It plays well with the old people. I promise you.
Oh, do you know what? It's quite funny. I'll tell you a story in a minute after we finished interviewing Ash. Okay, so what are you working on now then? I know what you're working on, but I want you to tell people what you're working on now.
So the newest project I'm doing at the moment is called Incognito. So this is going to be the first major production, which is going to be on the IMAX screen at Cineworld when it's finished. Do you want to know a bit more about the story or just like as a team?
Yeah, I mean,
I want to hear
little
about
bits.
it.
Okay.
So basically, it's set in the 80s, and it centralizes around the main hero.
It's bringing back elements of the 80s, basically, in a horror format. So New York City is subjected to a massive terrorist attack that gets locked down, which is very similar to that film Escape from New York.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, love Escape from New York. I also like the. Do you remember Jason Takes Manhattan?
Yes.
Yeah, I always liked the way they made New York look in that. That's very 80s New York before Rudenberg got in there and fixed the whole thing up or whatever.
I could hear drums going. That was quite funny because when I went on there to do a bit of audio before, I could hear the drums going. I was like, "That's pretty fucking awesome." To be honest, usually be like drums, what? But the fact that somebody's downstairs practicing on a drum kit, I find pretty fucking metal. So yeah, that's cool.
It's his mom as well.
Yeah, my mom plays the drums. Just me and my mom does.
Am I breaking up? Am I, Tom?
Am I still breaking up to you?
The first couple of lines are a bit quiet. So maybe save the most important things you got to say till you're like a couple of words into your sentence, if that makes sense. So it'd be like, I've got something to say, and go into it, because once you get a run up at it, you sound a lot better.
Why is it doing that again? The microphone's the same as it was before.
I think it's definitely got something to do with us splitting the audio in 3 directions. Like, it's definitely that, because on the Weekly Bazaar yesterday, you sounded fucking beautiful, man. I was crying when I heard it back.
This has just been our biggest plague so far, with trying to split it between fucking the UK and over here in goddamn Canada, Vermont, and fucking me and Alex, and we have like amazingly fun conversations on Facebook at nighttime, which sounds really dirty, but it's not. I promise you, it's just late night bro, bored as fuck, and
late night teenage conversations.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. That's how I feel every night.
Chat about boys and everything.
We're both like 30-something-year-old men, and we got families, and we got shit going on. So it's fun to talk to people who are similarly passionate about things, but at the same time have a whole bunch of baggage that they got to take care of every day. So they're equally as tired, they're equally as frustrated, and all they want to do is bullshit about the stuff they love. It's probably the reason that I get up on Sundays going, yes, Thors-Kin.
About a half an hour before we start the show, his little girl was showing me a diesel train from Thomas the Tank Engine that she had, and he pressed the button and it started talking. I was like, whoa, what the fuck, man? Why has he got an American accent? Like, Thomas is British, bitch. Like, why has Diesel got an American accent? And he was just pissing himself.
It's like having Delbert from Fools and Horses with an American accent.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Travesty on a national treasure. I swear to God. I'm so sorry. The best thing is, please don't take it away, YouTube, but you can stream the UK version of Thomas on YouTube, because it's like different codes or whatever the fuck ever, so they let it through. So I watch the British version all the time, and my favorite memory is Ringo Starr doing that, even though he doesn't really naturally sound British.
I think
right, okay.
Yeah.
So back into Incognito. So you were saying that it's set in 80s apocalyptic New York, right? Not apocalyptic, kind of very strange, you know. So carry on from there. So it's set in the 80s. You got your nostalgic 80s feeling to it. What about the main character? Tell us about him.
Right, the main character protagonist, Daniel Houston. You find out he is a war veteran, so he served in the Vietnam War from 1966 till 1975 when it ended. The film gets very political. So basically, when he comes back, nobody likes him. Anti-protesters don't like him either, so he turns to a criminal lifestyle.
Ooh,
nice.
I like it.
Which is based on a true element, because in real life, the soldiers of the war weren't appreciated by the American public. I don't know why, but it was just a thing back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's got a real Rambo feel, you know, you fucking baby killers and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what happens? What happens to Jack? What turns the story on its head?
Because the film has so many plot twists. So basically, Jack, his younger brother, we don't know until later in the film, he plans an attack on his own brother so he can escape the war. So basically, he's being desertion. Sorry.
Yeah.
And therefore, he has the same kind of punishment when he comes back, and he like takes a city like a captive.
A bit like Bane does in Dark Knight Rises. He kind of closes off the city.
An example, that is.
Yeah, I'm liking this movie already. 3 elements I can really agree with. Fucking John Rambo.
There is something about this film everyone's going to love the most. Later in the film, there's a character called Harold Miller. And you know this already.
I do know this.
Okay. Imagine in the 80s timeline, he's a retired mafia boss.
Think like classic Godfather.
Yeah.
Mafia
So
boss.
basically, when Daniel was only a child, he worked for Harold. And then when they come back in the 80s, he returns a favor to Daniel. So they take down the terrorist leader together. So it's mafia versus terrorists versus veterans.
And that's really cool because, like, the mafia, being as bad as the mafia were also very patriotic, weren't they? Especially in World War II, when they were kind of protecting the docks and Vietnam. Was it where was it? Was it World War II? Was it Vietnam? There was definitely a point where they were protecting the docks from
World War II.
I'm thinking
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I like that aspect. I didn't really know about that. So anyway, we got this amazing movie set up, and it's going to be done with CGI graphics, which look great as well. And you've got voice actors in to do a different thing. I mean, me being one of them. How many people have you got in to do this at the moment? Like, what's your cast looking like?
Oof. Oh, if no, it's a big list. So it's got to be at least 8 people.
Yeah.
At least 8 people.
That's a big list, though. Compared to the last one, it's a big list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only see.
I mean, it's
Okay,
like
so-
in all aspects, this film is so much bigger than the last one. But that's what you want, really. You need success and dedication.
There's so many like minor roles and like random characters that like pop in and go back out, just to like add complexity to the story.
Here's an example of how big the casting is. All the minor roles combined are at least 50 minor roles to fill.
Woo, that's a lot of roles. You need help? You want me to throw some voices in there? I'm pretty crappy at imitations, but I could talk like this. And I sound like an idiot. Yeah, fuck yeah. No, ground roots, man.
American accent will do.
Yeah, because the film's set in America, so we need accents all the time.
Fuck you, Tom. You're gonna get me fired, you prick.
Yeah, I speak accent. Right. I could take Alex's role right now. What now? We'll talk after the show. Don't worry. Alex has nothing to do.
I'll be that guy in Justice League sat there with the cardboard box. I tried on the floor. So yeah, I mean, I after I got the go ahead that I could help with the film with the voices. We met up at a pub in Shifnal and we sat and talked. And I did my New York accent, and you're quite surprised when you. I mean, I didn't know. I had no idea how good I was with accents, and you said, "Oh, that was really good." So we did a few test runs with the audio, and you gave me the main role, which I was really, really happy about. It was really, really good.
I mean, here's something I would like to say, though. Basically, your role as Daniel, you're just like Arnie in the Terminator. Nobody else could play him, only you.
You hear that, Tom? He's away from camera at the moment, but you hear that, Tom, motherfucker? Only me, bitch. Only me. And
only you can be Daniel.
But to be fair, when we were first like doing like the original casting, when you sent in your audition tape, I was just like watching through random audition tapes. I was like, Ash, come here, watch this one.
Yeah, because Tom, you'll like this. I don't think I've ever told you this, but for the audition, we had to do like record a bit of like random accents, at least 6 accents I think you asked for, and so I read the first page out of Watchmen.
Ooh.
Yeah, read the first page out of Watchmen, and every single window had a different accent. It was fantastic. I did I did the first bit as a Cornish guy, so I think I was like, I can't remember how it goes now, but I was like, November 20th, 1986. Doc Cork is on the floor today. It smells good.
Isn't the measure of a good artist the people that can actually sing in their other voices? That's what I always try to do. Whenever I think of a voice, I'm always like, all right, but can you sing in that voice? Because that was something.
I'm very bad at doing the accent. Like speaking, I can do it. Singing, much better. Like I can't speak and I can't the accent, but singing
you can sing it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I was a really big fan of Buffy, and I think that got brought up at one point watching the special features on it. They were talking about how James Marsters had a hard time singing as Spike while trying to protrude, even though he's an actually good singer. So they measured it as a way to tell good voice actors from bad voice actors.
Oh, that's cool.
I guess.
Yeah, because I had no idea the guy that was Spike, and he talks like this. All right, guys, I'm a vampire. Right, I'm going to suck your fucking blood. Right, I had no idea he was actually American. Which is great because he actually has quite a good accent in Buffy.
Not like Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, where it's the worst British accent.
So, Ash, give us a shout out to your previous projects, guys. Get your notepads out and write down this, because all of Ash's features so far are on YouTube and doing fucking amazing, by the way. He got some amazing views. So give us a shout out a couple of your titles that you got on YouTube.
Right, so
we've got the main one, which is 2018, The Virus.
Yeah, that's the first main animation
one. That's the first big one.
The first ever one was Underworld, which we discussed previously, but I do a bunch of smaller projects like the past 2 years.
What we
I did Standstill, which basically Standstill is a 9/11 dedication video, just to respect those who are no longer with us and the American public, and it got a lot of likes.
That's cool.
Wow.
In terms of other productions as well, in 2015, I worked with some amazing people. LARA worked with us as well at S&M Films in Shrewsbury with a creative director called Tom Middleton. And basically, he liked what I was doing for the production because we're doing a Christmas film. So everyone at Shrewsbury loved it. They felt
like a little Christmas short film.
Yeah, they felt really drawn into it. It felt really magical. But my favourite memory to production was being asked to play Santa Claus.
Oh yeah,
that don't go off for some people.
A little bit. It was really creepy.
I bet. But we were doing, what are the ones that we were looking at when I was around yours? There was two that I got like hundreds of thousands of views.
The Last Ride.
Yeah, The Last Ride. The ones that got the most views is the one I showed you, 2018, The Virus, and it was Underworld. They're the two biggest ones I've got.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with them.
Then you're also in my short film that I did for my media.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was also a star in Lara's short film. There's a horror film called The Last One.
And it is awful. I've never, honestly, I was like, oh yeah, I want it to be like this and that, and it just basically is the worst edited short film I've ever seen in my life.
It's like, it's the end of the world. Oh, as the baked bean tin.
Look, if I was going to make a movie, my influence would definitely be Tarantino, right? Because I love the guy. I love the way he works. I love his vision. What are your influences? Like, what are you? So if you had to pick a couple of your influence when you were making a movie, what would it be?
Well, I would say my influences aren't just from films. It's basically from my family as well, because we're all so special in one way. So my brother he's got his own band called Jack in the Box, and they perform in Shrewsbury, Telford, Wolverhampton, Birmingham. I get music as inspiration from my girlfriend Lara. Because, well, you can play music. I don't know where I'd begin with one. But in terms of film inspiration, it came from when I was in my teens. Because after school, I used to go to cinema with friends quite a lot. And then over time, I just generate ideas and see how they would work, and that's basically where it all started.
First film I ever did was with my friends in high school. See, that's the way it should start. We did a cover music video for the for what was it? The Greatest Song in the World by Tenacious D.
I love that song. I do.
Tribute.
It was
Song in the world.
it was in a motorcycle helmet, and me with a high 8 was a high 8, or it wasn't digital at that point. It was still a tape, and we edited it by playing the music and recording and then playing it over, and it worked. Like, we made it, but it was really shitty. We did something very little at the end of that night because we're all fucked up. You know how kids get. And we made this short little itty bitty zombie film, which looked fucking brilliant. We literally ran back to his house. We got some fucking Kool-Aid. We threw it on the snow. It was really stunning. And it was my buddy doing this horrible accent, and it'll be in my head for the rest of my life, and I'll do it right now. He'd be like, "Oh, Jebediah, what'd they do to you?" And he fucking bend and gives me goosebumps still. And my buddy lunges up and grabs him. They're very good, like 28 Days Later zombie style, and it just ended to black. Yeah, fucking. I make films too, actually. Like, I haven't shot a lot, but I do special effects makeup.
Okay, that's
Same.
You do music, though. You do makeup as well. You do.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'll tell you a little story. When I was in Blackpool 2-3 years ago, with Lara, she did the makeup on my arm, which looks like my veins were showing, and
It looked like bone was showing. We were walking across the road, and this guy spotted him. Just like, oh!
Across the road.
First time we got makeup done on us, I was doing a Halloween show at the Essex Fairgrounds, which obviously you guys know about, but if anyone in Vermont listens to, they'll know about it. It's our big county fair thing. It's lame, but it's okay though because it's fun. So in the fall, it's all shut down, and we use the inside as a Halloween walk. And it was really in depth, and I got makeup done on me, and I was just really starting to watch like Dawn of the Dead and studying it. I got the double DVD feature for Christmas, and it had it had the extra 8 hours of Tom Savini doing makeup, and I was like, oh, this is fascinating. He's like, yeah, it's just liquid latex and foam, and I was like, I can make that. And ever since then, I've just been applying the craft, and usually it only comes around Halloween because that's when people are like, oh yeah, let me let you slather chemicals all over my face and make me look like if anyone that's ever used liquid latex knows it smells like cat piss just all over your face.
Like fish.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna be really crude and say it smells like pussy because
I don't think that's fucking liquid latex.
it must be off.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'll send you videos. I made a blood film recently, and I've actually I helped my buddy with a college film he did 2-3 months ago, and it's got a similar future dystopian type feel to it. I'll send you a link to it afterwards.
Oh, awesome. Look forward to that.
We'll put that on Thors-Kin, motherfucker. We'll get everyone watching that shit.
I'm sure he'll be fine with it. He did a very good job making this film. I've helped him with 2 things now. The first thing didn't work because my craft used to be applied to more like theater and live performances. And have you guys ever done either one of those very much?
Yeah.
I've done one. I have. That was a long time ago.
When you do theater and live, you have to make everything a little more exaggerated because it's harder to pick up when it's dark and the lighting's not perfect. When you're doing a movie, all that stuff is taken care of for you. So simplicity and little plays much better. But I set up as if I was going to do a live thing for a movie, and he took one picture of it, and I was like, that's garbage. And I like ripped it off and had to try go littler. So since then, I remade my stuff and made it and painted it the way I wanted to look like. And it's a lot better. I'm actually pretty excited about the way that these things are going. Yeah, that's my long job about makeup.
That's cool, man. That's something that you can use for the future, Tom. I've been playing around with a lot with latex and stuff, like doing the scare acting, and it's crazy because I'd had no experience when I went into the prison for the first time, and I was watching all these people just making these prosthetics out of latex and tissue. Some people use oats. They like get the latex and just smash oats into the face, and the effect when you get all the blood and the gore, and you can put like green pus in it and everything.
Spot on.
It's awesome.
Simplicity works. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes the simplest things look the best.
Yeah. So Ash, what's the future for you? Where are you going to go after Cognito? What we got to look forward to?
We were thinking about this already. If depend on the success of the film, I want to transition from graphics to real life. Do an independent feature real life movie, and this time take on a psychological theme.
Okay, that sounds cool. I mean, like I always think of the one of the biggest psychological movies recently is It, like because it like everything that Pennywise does to his victims is all psychological. They're seeing these things because he wants them to see them. Always lending, usually ending up with their death. But yeah, that's if you can do that. If you can show something like me and Tom talk about movies all the time. We were talking about Signs and how easily they took like a very simple subject or image and made people jump. Like, for example, the alien just walking across the screen. Like, it literally, it's the guy in a fucking green suit walking across the screen. But because of the ambiance and the music and the way they draw you in, it makes people jump. Like, if you can do that, man, you're fucking set for life. If you've got the knowledge and the brain to be able to do that, I really do wish you luck with it, mate.
Thank you very much. Oh, but when you said something about Alien, that reminded me about the PlayStation VR headset and a spider was in it. I put the PlayStation VR on my head once, but I didn't check there was a spider inside of it. So I was playing again and just went, boom, hey! So realistic. It was like a massive spider magnified. Like, oh.
I tell you what, though, the other day I got into my car, and where I have to park my car is right underneath this tree, and my car was like covered in wasps. And I was so fucking annoyed. I had to wait for them all to move out my door so I could quickly get in, and then I pulled my car forward so I could turn around away from this fucking cloud of wasps. And I realised there was one inside my car. And you remember that scene in Jurassic Park where he gets in the car and there's that little dinosaur? It was very much like that. I was like, bailed out the car, and this wasp followed me out the car.
me and my buddy, I don't know if you guys know this. Me and Alex talk about this quite a bit, but cannabis just became legal in Vermont not too long ago, like 2 months ago. So we fucking rock and everybody else sucks. Me and my buddy were putting my plants in my garage, and there was this giant fucking spider just kind of like chilling out near the light. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that big ass spider. My buddy reminded me. He's like, hey man, we want spiders. They eat the insects that will try to attack the plants. And I was like, oh yeah, good idea. Well, let's get that guy really high really quick so he knows what we're all about. And we blow this. I mean, it sounds really shitty, but it gets really great. Promise you. He kind of like starts going, huh? I forget that I'm a spider, and forgets how to climb. So he just kind of drops onto the plant. I was like, oh shit, bro, we killed that spider. And he was moving, everything was fine. I was like, all right. So then, like 3 days later, he is 3 times the size with this gigantic, intricate web. And now he's like the protector of the fucking plants. And he was like, yo, these fucking gods, they blew this magical smoke at me. And now I'm like the king of catching shit. And so apparently he's called his buddies because we got 6 more just like him.
Have you named him?
No, I didn't name them, but I did name my plants though. And you'll like this because my buddy is very scientific. He's very into his craft as far as growing cannabis. And he likes to give it the proper name. He likes to, label it as is. So then when he tells someone, hey, man, this is Blueberry Headband, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. I think he just doesn't want to be called a liar. But regardless, there was 3 seeds that kind of like sprouted out that were clones from another guy. And I was like, oh, well, we don't know what this is. Can I just name it wherever the fuck I want to? And he's like, I guess. And I was like, yes. I get to make a decision this. And I named one the Garmy, I named one Thors-Kin, and I named one fucking Enigma because I didn't know what the fuck it was, and I ran out of cool names to name it. So
hold the fuck on, motherfucker. Wait this shit there, right? What? So you're saying right now you're growing a batch of herb that's called Thors-Kin. We've got a type of weed named after us, right?
Represent where I'm from, sir. I mean, I might live in the backwoods, but I gotta represent my fun that I have. Orally fun. Yeah, dude, I'll take pictures. See, that's the thing though. That's where it gets tricky, right? Because it's legal here, and it's cool for me to be like, hey, man, these are the plants I grow. I grow in a legal limit. I don't grow. You can have 6 plants, 2 mature and 4 immature. And all of them are immature now, and that's per adult in the household. So I can have up to 12 plants, and they don't tell you how much you can stock or limit. So once I start budding, I literally have a room full of marijuana. As long as I'm not selling it, I'm using it for my own personal use and not giving it away for lavish gifts, which people have been trying to do, which is really fucking shit up. But it's okay though, because those people are retarded. I can pour literally just shedfuls of the shit, and I named one of them Thors-Kin. And I wonder if I take pictures of my Thors-Kin weed and post it on this channel, would that be not okay or okay?
I have no idea. I don't, because I in my job, I'm supposed to discourage people from drugs. If my manager looks at Thors-Kin and is like, yeah, Alex is like encouraging people to smoke weed by posting pictures. It might be like,
well, this is where it also gets very interesting and tricky. My wife during pregnancy, they tell you to take pills for fucking sickness. They tell you to take this or that. She never took anything. I always encouraged her to smoke cannabis, not hideous amounts, nothing to, but enough to not make her sick, enough to let her eat. At the same point in time, my wife also has really, really severe ADHD to the point where her parents, had, like parents back in the 80s did, had trouble figuring out what was going on. And they just shoveled pills in her mouth and made her really sick as a kid. And when we got together, I started smoking weed with her, and I was like, hey, man, smoke weed. And slowly over time, she got rid of her medications, and she functions much better. She runs a dental office. Like she's the smarter of us. She makes more money than me, way more money than I'll ever make. And fucking, she does it all, on a little bit of THC compared to being on like 120 milligrams of Concerta or some nonsense, which is amphetamine.
That's cool. That is cool. And we are going to do an episode on that with Garrett at some point. But back on to that is really wicked, Tom. I don't mean to pile you off, but let's talk to our guest.
like, I feel like sharing today, people.
So, Ash, like, let's get back to Incognito. When are we looking for a release date for this?
Right, at the earliest, I'm looking to have the film in the cinema by December this year, but the very latest of March next year.
I'm very looking forward to going to a premiere of a movie that I'm in. How cool is that going to be? Like rocking up. I don't know what to wear. I don't want to do the whole black suit thing. Can I turn up in like Hawaiian shirt and like swimming shorts and a fucking grass hat? Yeah.
I think
it's
formal. Matching t-shirts.
I think because everyone puts so much effort into the film, you come as you want.
I think everyone should wear those t-shirt tuxedo shirts just so you're like kind of warm at the same time walking out because it's badass.
Sounds like an option. But what I've got to thank you for, Ash, is actually helping me find ways to work on my voices, because I am practicing now, and if I do end up getting future job roles with doing voice acting, I think I've got you to thank mainly, because you gave me a very difficult job with Jack, because I landed the two main roles. It's really funny actually, because I'm doing Daniel, who's got this real deep New York accent, you know, and he sounds like he's been there and he's done it. And then he's like, I want you to play Jack, his brother. And I was like, dude, like, aren't people gonna think that it's gonna be me doing two voices? It's gonna be too obvious. And then he explained to me the voice for Jack, which is a lot more elaborate and a lot more. And he said he wanted to base it on Rhys Ifans in Little Nicky.
Yeah.
Which one was that one, Little Nicky?
The one with Adam Sandler, where he's like the son of Satan.
Don't get me wrong.
Adrian,
yeah. Like that whole David Bowie feel to it.
His voice. I think that works very well. Because he's a lot younger.
I fucking love Little Nicky. That's like one of the last great Adam Sandler films.
I agree.
Oh, you're the pervert with the big bird in the tree. Well, you're going to see what it's like to get raped by a big bird in hell.
So,
all right, I'm going to cut you off because that soundtrack, we talked about theme music earlier, is one of my favorite soundtracks of all fucking time. It has POD's School Hard Knocks, which wasn't on any other POD album. It had a Change by fucking I Watched Them Change. It had Disturbed's first version of Stupefy, which was really like more techno-y driven beat. Oh, it's phenomenal. If you get a chance, go on YouTube and listen to the Little Nicky soundtrack.
I like the ending song Highway to Hell. That's my favorite. Highway to Hell.
So anyway, Ash gave me this really flamboyant English accent to work with, where he's like very like, "Hi, Nicky, it's so nice to see you," you know. And I was like, how the fuck am I gonna work that into an American accent? It's basically like he's like a really camp Loki. That's basically what he is.
Kind of like near the end. I'd move the stars and the stones for you. Oh.
So like I came up with this. I can't remember how it goes now because we haven't done Jack much yet. But it was like, "Hi, Nicky. It's so nice to see you. It's very flamboyant." I actually based him on, if you've ever seen Mad Men, is it Peter Osborne? Is it Peter Osborne? The really like, he's really spoiled in Mad Men. Have you seen that? Any of you?
Yeah.
I remember it.
Well, there's this one guy. He's always like, "I need the account, man. This is my job," and this is very like he's always losing his temper and shit.
Campbell, he's the one that's like the young comer-upper, and he like tattles onto the head boss about how what's his face is hiding his real identity and shit, and he's like doesn't care. He's like, "Close the door. I understand men have secrets," and fucking he's like, "We're okay." Fucking Mad Men.
I mean,
so great.
So, I was Santa once, wasn't I?
Mad Men is fantastic, guys. We need to go. I'll do that as a hard sell at some point. Now we've had this like huge list of things that we were going to be talking about on the episode, but we're like, it's absolutely fantastic for podcasts. Just for us to just go on this really nice, gentle like meander of whatever the fuck we're talking about and be comfortable. So that's really cool. But I like I said, I got loads of these things to talk about, but I think I'm just going to pick a couple of them. Like, are you guys Marvel fans? Have you been watching any of this Daredevil, Jessica Jones sort of stuff?
I haven't been watching, but I know of it.
Yeah. What about you, Tom?
Daredevil. I watched the shit out of Daredevil. Daredevil is just probably one of the best representations of a Marvel character. Period. That John Woo inspired fucking fight scene where they're going down the hallway and not cutting away. That's Did you ever see? Are you a fan of Tony Jaa's work?
Yes.
Yeah, he's got that same thing in Ong Bak movie and in The Protector, which is Quentin Tarantino produced. Going up that spiral fucking ramp, single fight scene, dude. Alex, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, after this, Alex, I'm going to send this to you, and I'll put it on the fucking Thors-Kin because it's just so great. And you know what I'm talking about. Do you want to explain it to him?
I think it's best if you explain because I might get something wrong.
Talk about movies and shit. So yeah, they go up a long ass thing and they don't cut away. It's fucking brilliant. And Tony Jaa is just a premier martial artist. He did Ong Bak, The Protector. But you haven't seen the Marvel movies, huh? The Marvel TV universe.
No, we're more like Marvel films. Like,
Yeah, so like
I would watch Guardians of the Galaxy hundreds and hundreds of times.
you would.
Fucking damn right.
It's pretty close to perfect.
To be fair, I've never seen a film where I would literally listen to the soundtrack over and over and over. But those two films, the soundtracks are phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it really is. Just having blue suede shoes on the not blue suede shoes. Hooked on a Feeling is the first thing when he's stomping out the rats. It's so amazingly beautiful.
My neighbours must wonder what the fuck's going on with my music because I'll have like Linkin Park, then Limp Bizkit, then a bit of System of a Down, and then Hooked on a Feeling.
What's going on there?
You just listed off my entire like teenage music years. You and me were like separated at birth. We were coming out of like a British vagina, and I was coming out of like an American vagina. But we are literally like hooked at the tip, sir. That's very interesting. That's hilarious.
So anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because I've just finished. I'm just towards the end of Luke Cage season 2, which I completely threw out when I first saw it. I hated Luke Cage 1 because the first season was like it started off amazing. It properly gripped me. Like you had this amazing like villain, and then things happened, and then the second half of the season was just jumped off a cliff. It was awful, right? So I was like, I ain't watching no Luke Cage again. And I think it was possibly someone from the Two Broke Geeks. It was somebody who said to me like, definitely try it out because it gets better. So I did. I watched it. It could have been Garrett actually, but I watched it. Season 2 is a lot better. It's still a lot of samey. A lot of him walking around, discovering what he's trying to discover himself. A lot of really quiet moments where they're talking in offices and things like that. But then I come across this episode in there which features the Iron Fist. Now, the first season of Iron Fist got absolutely destroyed by fans. People hated it. It was just this whiny bitch just fucking complaining about Kung Lung and all this shit. Like he was thick as fuck as well. If you've ever watched The Defenders, he is fucking stupid in it. He's like, I know where they are, I know where to go, and they're like, Danny, I probably shouldn't go in there and just declare who you are and start war. He's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it does it, and it fucks up. Like,
that is a better of that show than the actual show itself. You sold me. I will listen to you describe to me The Defenders. I will never watch it again.
That film was like it was like having the opportunity to bed a porn star and just not being able to get it up. That's what it was like.
That's a very good analogy. See, that's why I like Daredevil, because it seems like Daredevil kind of like set the tone for how it's supposed to be. And then they like, oh, well, we're a continuous universe. You know, with Netflix, we're going to keep it together. And they tried recreating that like 3 more times, and it didn't work nearly as well because I think people were kind of hungry for a Daredevil story. They weren't necessarily fucking hungry for a Power Man and Iron Fist story or a Jessica Jones story.
Yeah, and there was this amazing scene like this. Well, this episode was great, right? So Iron Fist comes walking into Pops, which is where Luke Cage is always hanging out, right? So Luke Cage is coming like, hey man, it's fucking Iron Fist. Let's do an Iron Fist Luke Cage episode, yo! And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? First of all, like, he should have done the show with this fucking energetic, like, optimistic guy, and then people would have liked it a bit better, right? It was really bright. It was almost like a teen soap episode. Like, yeah, it started off with Luke Cage, and like people come up to Luke Cage going, "Hey man, you're supposed to clean up the streets, ma 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 ma," and people come up to him, really bad acting, and it was like, then Luke Cage walks in. And then it turns out one of the characters had turned bad. I won't say who, but it was this Hispanic character. And for some reason, as soon as they found out she was bad, they turned her into this, like, they completely changed her makeup. She was very Hispanic throughout the whole thing, right? And I'm married to a Hispanic lady. I know what I'm talking about, right? She's so, like, she starts off like very Jennifer Lopez like accent, and then as soon as they found out she's a bad guy, they changed her makeup. They put her in like really slutty kind of slow clothes. They give her these big lip makeup, and she's just like, "Hey man," she's like proper sassy black girl, and I was just like, "What the fuck's this all about?" Like, and then they go into this fight scene, and that is one of the best things I have ever seen on TV, and I was just like,
Daredevil piece.
Oh my god! It was so much. It was up there with that, and I was just like, the whole fucking season of them standing around talking and all this weird shit that goes on was worth watching it for this scene. And they're in this room, and there's all the bad guys around, and they're getting ready for this fight, and they're fighting. They're getting tired. More people come around. They're surrounding them, and then Iron Fist turns to Luke Cage and goes, "Patty cake," and Luke was like, "I don't know if it's going to work." He goes, "Patty cake." And he runs up to Luke Cage and he punches his hand with his iron fist, and it creates this explosion and just knocks everyone on their ass. I was just like, yes! Fucking yes! I was so alive. I was so happy about this episode. So yeah, it's crazy how these things can work, right? You can have this really boring season and this one moment that just makes the whole thing worth it. So definitely check out Luke Cage season 2.
It sold me really hard. I have an erection for this right this second.
Hashtag patty cake. Fucking awesome.
The only crappy thing, I mean, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man being in the Marvel movies is fantastic because I love what they've done with the character. His story arc is very interesting. I find that his singular movies are amazing. But he's more like the way that Robert Downey Jr. said to him, he's like, "I want you to be a street-grown Spider-Man," or whatever it was. That's who Spider-Man was. And if Spider-Man wasn't such an intricate part in the Avengers movies right now, he would be in fucking Daredevil, Luke Cage. He'd be a defender. He'd be a top choice over having somebody else because he was a defender and he's in that universe. They all live within like 8 blocks of each other or some shit.
Yeah, and have any of you ever read Civil War, the actual comic book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No.
are you a big comic book fan? Well, the whole reason they went through the effort of getting Spider-Man into the MCU is to start off with Civil War because Spider-Man and Daredevil are 2 pivotal characters in that comic book.
Here's one of your 30 pieces of silver, Judas. Okay. What's going on is Iron Man caught fucking Daredevil finally because Daredevil's fucking amazing, can't catch the motherfucker, and they were bringing him to the neutral zone. Do you guys know what the neutral zone is?
I think I do.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to like be throwing comic book shit and throwing you on the spot because you guys, I don't want to make fun of anyone or make it seem like I am.
Hey,
but essentially, I know I'm a piece of shit, guys. I'm so sorry you have to talk to me on this thing. So essentially what it is Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four created an alternate dimension that he could put bad guys and they could never get back unless he opened the neutral zone to take them back. And fucking they brought like all sorts of Marvel superheroes to the neutral zone in Civil War, and Daredevil's being led away and he hadn't said anything, and Robert Downey Jr. See how good Robert Downey Jr. is? I call Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man standing and he's like trying to explain to Daredevil the benefits of this, and they said, "Oh, we took this out of his mouth and it was a little piece of silver." And he's like, "What's this?" He's like, "It's one of your pieces of 30 silver, Judas." And it was so fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
such a brilliant.
So the point is, that's amazing, by the way, that you can remember that. That's obviously had a big part in your life, that comic book.
I'm not so much of a comic book fan. I'm a graphic novel fan. If it's good enough to condense into a story that I can appreciate in one sitting, I will definitely do it. I own a lot of comics, and I have owned tons of comics, looking for something that I wanted to find, which really sucks now because I want to read the single issues because there's lots of little stories I missed. But yeah, I got the Civil War graphic novel and the JLA fights the Avengers in Midtown Comics in New York City. I have a Daredevil shirt I got from them, which is starting to get holes in the armpits, and that thing is. I was 19 when I got it. I'm 30 now. It's 11 years old, and it still fits and everything. It's Daredevil pounce. It's guy's hands going like this, like and it's a first person view of like shadow hands, and Daredevil's pouncing at him with his 2 fucking billy clubs and shit. So yeah, I got those comics. Yeah, thank you. I was yeah. So I got those comics there, and I read Civil War for the first time, based on the review of a guy at Midtown. He's like, "You've never read the Civil War?" And I was like, "No." And then that introduced me to not Tim Miller,
Frank Miller,
Mark Millar, because he drew for Civil War, but he also did Kick-Ass.
Okay.
He introduced me to the comics Kick-Ass, and have you ever read those?
No.
Well, anyway,
Almost better.
fucking shut up, Tom. He's definitely sharing today.
Comic book.
No, the point I was trying to make was, if they were going through so much effort to get Spider-Man in Civil War, why couldn't they have just thrown Daredevil in? You know. Anyway, so Ash, so what is with you being having such a creative mind, like, because it sounds very much like when you were in your teens, you kind of knew that the path in which you wanted to go in. All right. So what fuels that mind of yours? What do you like to do? Like movies, gaming. What's your thing, man?
Well, to put it simply, I like to do a little bit of everything, because if you look at my YouTube channel, I don't just do film-related content. I like to do things for the gaming community. I like to upload the pieces of music that I think is really interesting, people would enjoy. I don't just like have a specialty in one thing. It's a bit of everything.
That's good, man. It's good that you've got like a real good range of things that keep that kind of mind of yours going. And it's really important to fuel that. I mean, it's great to see such a young mind. Like I can say that now. I'm 32 nearly. It's such a young mind going out there and doing something, because, you know, you get a lot of kids who kind of... we stood just yesterday outside the Dana prison just watching a group of youths just sat on the floor, on the corner, just texting and chewing gum. And I guess that's been normal for the last couple of decades, but, you know, it seems to be more so that the youth just want to sit on Instagram or YouTube and do fuck all. Like, so it's good that you are doing something, and you're a great inspiration to young people. Like, you know, it doesn't take a lot of money. It takes a bit of time, but sometimes with a computer or a phone, with my fucking phone, I literally run my whole life through my phone. And if it wasn't for this phone, I wouldn't have this show. I wouldn't have seen you on Facebook, or I wouldn't have met up with Tom. Certainly, you know, like, you can use what you've got to create, you know, and that's what you've done.
There is one thing that keeps me driven all the time, ever since I was a teen. I've always gone by this: the world wasn't made in a day.
No.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, time, you can't make something perfect if you rush it. Time makes perfect. That's what I've always gone by.
That's a good way to go by. I can agree with that. Yeah.
I think Tom's a testament to that, because look at him. He's beautiful. And he's taking...
I shaved off the beard. I look like I'm 12, and then this would be a really inappropriate conversation for us to be having. So I keep the beard so people think I'm older than I really am.
I see Tom, and I'm thinking lumberjack love, baby, lumberjack bear.
There was something as well, like you said about the youth who are sitting around on their phones all the time now. Because when I was in school, that was happening then. Like I said, been around for decades. But I didn't want to end up like that. I wanted to be a unique person. I wanted to deliver something different people would enjoy. I want to be original in my own kind.
That's fantastic. Have you ever thought of like giving talks to people, like you know, like a bit of tuition and give someone a bit of drive? Because sometimes people are creators, authors, podcasters, things like that, you know.
In terms of education, I have once, about 2 years ago now, I used to teach people how to do basic script writing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, cool.
So,
Very cool.
I only did that for about a week, but people soon picked up and started making their own projects. Oh, fair enough. If you need help with it, I'll come help you.
Ooh, that's super intriguing because I'm really shitty at writing, and I've always wanted to learn how to write a screenplay.
Here's something that's unique about myself as well, because the kind of stuff I can do, you normally have to get to university for. But everything you've seen, all my work, all my dedication, I've got no qualifications saying I can do it. I've done it all by myself through the internet.
What? Sorry, go on. My bad, buddy.
No, that's right. One of my greatest inspirations has always been like, was it like Samuel L. Jackson didn't get his first acting part till he was like in his 40s? Like, that goes to show you that you're working hard now doing this, and you're creating things and influencing people. Imagine what it's going to be like if you keep doing this for 10 years, 20 years. People will be like, Ash Wilding's the guy we need, you know?
Who's the guy?
This guy who made that Incognito film or that Maladjusted movie?
Yeah.
Everyone knows me from something.
Scott didn't make his first movie until he was like, what, 40? Aliens was his first film. Yeah, man. So it doesn't matter what age you started as long as you just start.
I mean, like, I think it was Quentin Tarantino before he got into films. He used to work in the video store, he did. Used to rent films.
Oh, yeah.
Walt Disney went bankrupt twice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brilliant. Yes. Viral high five for that little bit of Disney knowledge.
And as well, Robert Downey Jr., one of the biggest inspirations. Down and out, in and out of rehab. Nobody would touch him. And he got picked up because he was a live reenactment of Tony Stark. That's what they said. There's nobody more Tony Stark than Robert Downey Jr. What a fucking story that was.
Fucking universe, which is the biggest thing ever. I mean, if anyone says that the Marvel universe is not the biggest thing in film, they're just lying. I'm sorry. But nothing has more broader of a audience than this. I've met bros, I've met girls, I've met little kids, my kids who I could not get into comic books. They didn't want to read the comic books. They watched the Hulk, they saw Thor Ragnarok, and now they're all about the Hulk. So it spans everywhere.
And it's a piece of shit as well. It pisses me off because I'm DC. I bleed DC. Like, I love Marvel too. Like, I've always said I like both, but DC is my shit. Like Batman, I've got Batman everywhere, right? So when I was growing up, I was like, I had Timmy singing na 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 Batman from when he was like 2. I've like tried to be like, yeah, Batman this, Batman's like a batarang, ching 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 ching, Batman. He now is Marvel crazy, absolutely Marvel. If you walk into his room now, he's got a Marvel rug, he's got Captain America, Hulk, and he's got everything Marvel and Nintendo as well. Weirdly,
Your old man Batman. I got fucking Captain America shield. Dink dink dink. Kept it. Batman doesn't keep Batarang all the time, asshole.
I mean, there is one thing that makes me laugh. Deadpool. Somebody on YouTube made an edit of the scene in the movie. Who's seen Ed and Eddie when they were younger?
Ed and Eddie was massive, yeah.
They put those sound effects from the cartoons into that scene. It was so funny to watch.
You ever see that ending of Ed and Eddie? You ever see the last episode?
Yeah.
Gone for a long time. I have seen the movie though. That was the one that ended it. The Big Picture Show.
The one where it ended with him waking up as a dream, as an old man.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, so heartbreaking. You're just like, really? This entire time he's just been asleep and dreaming about the things that happened when he was a child, or at least extended versions of what he thought or portrayed as a child, which would explain why the jawbreakers were the size of their heads.
I would say that sort of explains how my film works, because like we've previously discussed, my film's in 2 separate timelines. So it's basically a story within a story, but it's done in the way that you kind of forget. You get drawn in to the second story before it goes back to the beginning. It's very complex how it works, but when you see it, it's amazing.
Do you know what reminded me of Incognito was Black Ops, the game? You know how, like in Black Ops, 1 minute you're in Vietnam, and then the next minute you're in present day, and the next minute you're in the future, and it's the same guys. It's just that they like when they're in the present, they're like older guys, but they can still fire a weapon, and then back in Vietnam, they're younger, and they're like, yeah. That's kind of what it reminded me of. It is kind of like you get a snippet of every single sort of decade in war in that game, for example.
The way of putting that is, that's really good. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I used to love Black Ops. I did. I played Black Ops 4. Was not going to get the pre-order of it. I don't know. I thought Black Ops 3 was good, but it went downhill after 3, if that makes sense.
Now, Okay, so say in
Yeah.
say in 10 years, right, that you are a director, you've got a movie out there that you put your heart and soul into, and it's one of the biggest movies you've ever worked on, and all of a sudden the fan base of that movie turn on you, insult you, harass you, and try to get you shut down because they don't like what you've done with your vision. How would that make you feel?
I would feel
Welcome to the comments on the
the
virus.
comments, the comments on YouTube. But now I would try and do more research, see what people would want, and try and come back as a better person.
Yeah.
You can't please
oh.
everyone. You can't take everything to heart.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take what other people say as their negativity as people that aren't even necessarily trying to do their own creative, points. That probably is what's frustrating the most, that you're actually out there trying to do something and succeeding in ways that they just never dream of, because they're like, instead of saying, "Oh, why can't I?" they're saying, "Oh, I can't."
Mm.
Yeah, do you think sometimes it's better to go with the fans' vision, or do you think sometimes it's better to like, no, fuck you, I'm going to do my own thing, right? Because I fucking wrote it and I did this. If you don't like it, you can fuck off. Do you think it's really important to kind of give the fans what they want, or do you think it's important for you to have your vision? What do you reckon?
I personally, I think it's to do with the fans, because you need fans to get you around places and to make your films. But at the same time, I want to try and be original in my own mind. So I try and bring them both together if possible.
No, that's a great way of looking at it. And of course, like I'm hinting at what's going on with Ryan Johnson at the moment with The Last Jedi. Obviously, he made this movie, which I thought was great, but it absolutely fucking split audiences right down the middle. To kind of, I'm at this side where I'm kind of like, yeah, there were a few problems with it. Although it was it was a beautiful movie, there were a few issues with it, but I can live with it. And then you got this side who are like, fuck you, Ryan Johnson, fuck you, Disney, I'm done with Star Wars, you've ruined my childhood. All this fucking shit. Like, I'm done with Star Wars. Bring Jar Jar back. He was better. Why have you done this and why have you done that? What the fuck's happened to Luke? And we want a better backstory for Rey. And they've just absolutely harassed Disney to the point where they're like, yeah, we're probably just gonna get rid of Ryan Johnson because of all the backlash.
Well, it was kind of a mistake, wasn't it? I mean, it's nice for Disney to be like, "Hey, man, let's give everyone a shot at Star Wars," and but maybe it was like, just not the best choice to give. They gave J.J. Abrams, who is now famous and synonymous with doing futuristic events. Star Trek was a really great movie. I think that's one of my favorite versions of Star Trek. Period. A little bit too much lens flare, but what are you gonna do? But they gave the first one to him, and they're like, "All right, give us Star Wars," and he gave us Star Wars, and everyone's like, "This is fucking Star Wars. This is what we came to see." And they're like, "Okay, now let's hand over the next one to Ryan Johnson," and everyone's like, "Yes, this will be great too, Ryan Johnson, Looper," and he gives us everything that we don't want, in the sense of like, oh, all those little sweet moments that JJ put into the story to kind of like entice a Star Wars fan to come along the journey. I'm going to take those the fuck away and add in a couple that just necessarily weren't really needed. I mean, Julie Dern was going to be a fine replacement for Leia, but whatever.
I think that's the point I'm trying to make is, yes, he had a vision. And yeah, people didn't agree with it. But do you think it was right for Disney to be like... Because the plan that Ryan Johnson had was he was going to do a further trilogy. He wanted to take people where they hadn't been before, meet new characters, and expand the story. Because as far as the Star Wars saga is concerned, you're only limited to that fucking Skywalker family. And there's only so much you can do with it, right? I mean, I know how I would fix The Last Jedi is I'd have Luke Skywalker wake up at the beginning on episode 9 and be like, oh my God, I've just had a terrible dream. Like, and then he'd go and he would have to fight Han Solo and Leia to kill fucking the child that they've had. Like, it's like, it was like don't you think that'd be perfect?
Well, see, I really love that end lightsaber scene, though, where Luke's not really there. I know a lot of people shit on it. But one, it shows how powerful the Jedi Luke really has become, that he can force project his scene there. But they also kind of hint at it, though, when they dig their feet into the sand to pose to get ready for the next blows. Kylo's makes a red mark in the sand and Luke does not. So they kind of hint at it early on, not the first time you notice it, of course, or at least see the movie. But that scene is just so brilliantly done, and Luke being kind of like a pacifist of who he is, and the first time going back to the Force, dude, that fucking scene is just tits. That makes up for a lot of things.
Michael, I got a question for you, Ash. Like, do you think it was a brave or stupid move for Rian Johnson to be like, because people were whining about The Force Awakens, they complained about fucking no end of things. Do you think it was brave of him to go, you know what, Rey's story, you're getting fuck all, and you know what, Leia, she's gonna be Mary Poppins, and you know what, it's Luke Skywalker, he's gonna be an evil, horrible little bastard, even though you've been waiting for this white knight that you've been waiting for. You can have that as well. You can all fuck off. Do you think that was brave, or do you think it's really silly of him to do?
Personally, I think it was a very brave move of him.
Yeah, because everybody was like, oh, I wonder who Rey's like related to. Snoke is going to be like the baddest fucking villain we've ever seen, and he gave us nothing. He took all that away from us.
I also like those things about it, kind of. I like that Kylo is, because I've been saying from the beginning, Kylo being as angry and aggressive and full of emotion, that makes him so attuned to the dark side that he's got to be crazy powerful. So the fact that he took out Snoke, that made me pretty okay with that. Or Snoke, excuse me. He didn't take out the debunking website. He took out a fucking galactic dictator. And also the what was the thing you mentioned before that? I'm sorry, I got stuck on fucking Snoke.
Leia's backstory.
Luke being
Luke.
no, not
Luke,
fuck yeah. Rey not having backstory is awesome too. It tells you that there's more like individuals in the galaxy that are Force tuned than just that family line. And as well as old man Luke being fucking, oh, I'm kind of done with this whole thing. I love that interaction at the very end with Frank Oz's version of fucking Yoda was awesome, dude. He's like, oh, Skywalker, I missed you. Oh, fucking brilliant, dude. But that Mary Poppins fucking flying Leia is just so bothersome to me that it makes it almost unwatchable, because they give you Laura Dern, who fucking Jurassic Park living Laura Dern is like, yo, I can be Leia and I can gain the respect of everyone and we can move this Force movie along. And like, no. Make Laura Dern die and fucking get Leia. That was just unacceptable.
What was I going to say? I think Michael Rooker did a bit of Mary Poppins impression. Mary Poppins, y'all!
This has a new one coming out soon, Mary Poppins 2.
Oh, yeah, there is a new Mary Poppins coming out. Disney knowledge kicking back in.
Yeah, there's loads of reinsurgence of these older Disney properties coming back, which is great in some respects. But Mary Poppins, I've never even watched. I've always get like, what?
Watch the Jungle Book remake.
Yeah, I like that, and I think Idris Elba was fucking badass in that.
I think you're just saying that because you want people to call you racist again.
I don't know if you caught wind of that last week, Ash, but yeah, I got branded as a racist all over the internet. It was fantastic. No,
I did not. I was not secretly using names going, you hear Alex is a racist?
Okay, back to Star Wars, just quickly to end it up, right? You know, you were talking about how Rey's backstory being nothing, and she's just like this. She's just a nobody, and she became a Jedi. That was the message. I don't know if people picked up. That was the message of the whole fucking film. The whole reason why they went on that mission that failed and they came back, which is great, by the way. It's great to see a failed fucking attempt on a film, because they tried and it failed, but also it introduced you into a child that was inspired by them. And at the end of the movie, you see him picking up that fucking broom with the Force, and he had the fucking rebellion fucking ring on him. I thought that was the message of the whole movie, and that to me speaks louder than anything that Rian did in that movie. I think it shows that, you know, all it takes is that spark, that little bit of fucking inspiration. Like Ash, you know, he's had that little bit of inspiration when he was just before he was 18, and he was like, I'm going to make movies. And now look what he's doing. You're a fucking Jedi, sir. You're a fucking Jedi.
Yeah. Really quick, you like Disney so much. Did you guys play Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah.
You've played. I haven't played.
Kingdom Hearts.
I was going to say, because I'm more of a Need for Speed, GTA, Call of Duty game, Ryan.
But you should play Kingdom Hearts because it's like the Dom.
it's a great video game. I wasn't a big Final Fantasy guy at all. I played the original on Nintendo.
I was.
But yeah, my man. See, separated from vaginas or something. I don't know. But yeah, fucking it's like a Final Fantasy Disney mashup. It's brilliantly done. It's very exciting, and they have a new game coming out after like 8 years or 9 years, so they've spent a little bit of time on it, which goes back to you know, a little bit of time, fucking make something good.
Time makes perfect, and practice makes perfect as well.
Yeah, and that trailer for Kingdom Hearts was for the newest version. I was like, yeah, this looks good. Then you see Elsa rocking up with the ice and shit, and I was just like, I've had enough of Frozen. I don't want to sit there and play fucking days and hours and hours and hours with fucking Frozen. Like, no, sorry.
Like Elsa would say, let it go, because she is, and you know, she's a Disney princess. My daughter is a princess, and she got this really fancy metal one that was like realistic to the movie and stuff. And when that part would come on, when she'd spin around and fling the tiara, I always secretly worried that she's going to take out my TV because it just went. What she wanted.
The way.
Right. Okay. Look. I've got a little feature. I don't mean to cut you all off then, but you know what? Listen, this is what's going to happen now. I've got what's called the quick fire round, okay? The lightning round. And I'm going to ask you a few questions, Ash. Very quickly as you can. I've got a number of questions that I need you to answer, okay?
Okay.
Are you psyched for this? This is because we've had a bit of a chat. We've got to know you a little bit, but we're going to know a bit more. Okay, I'm not going to ask you for your bank account details, all right, or your blood type.
Question: why are you giving away the fucking roster?
Was that? What did you say, Tom?
I said that was my second question. That was what it was going to be, Alex. Was what's their bank account? So why are you giving away my roster?
That'd be a great one, wouldn't it? And okay, here we go.
Oh, best.
Right, texting or talking?
Texting.
Favorite day of the week?
Wednesday.
Favorite city or town besides the one you live in?
Birmingham.
Nickname your parents used to call you?
Wild Thing.
The last song you downloaded?
Oh, how's it going back now? Burning Hearts by Survivor.
Oh. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Ooh, every language in the world.
What's your
questions too? Fuck.
I like to know what all the people have said about in different languages.
I want to be called the Dr. Doolittle.
What's your favorite holiday? So Christmas or Easter. What was your favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Good, I like that.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to get ready?
Max 10 minutes.
Good lad. Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you? I know you're learning to drive soon. So.
Oh, I would probably say I'm an 8. I can play the simulators just fine.
That's good. Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is...
A man.
That's awesome. Taylor Swift is a man. What age do you want to retire?
Or if I could now.
Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility, you can go into women's rooms then.
I like that. When I was a kid, I'd be like, there was this program, I've forgotten what it's called now, but there's this kid that can become invisible. It was on CITV, I think. And I'd be like, why isn't he looking at naked girls? Straight up, what's he doing, man? I'd be like, oh, anyway, back on with the show. So I'm revealing the inner pervert of me, you know. Last one. Is it wrong for vegetarians to eat animal crackers?
Yes.
Yeah? So if you're vegetarian and I see you eating an animal cracker, I'll be like, you fucking hypocrite. Thank you, Ash. That was really good.
Sorry to cut you off earlier. You saw Deadpool 2, right?
Yeah.
I haven't.
No. They have this whole little bit where one of the characters is invisible, which just made me laugh really hard on the inside.
Well, this talk of invisibility has reminded me of Harry Potter.
Harry
and
Potter's
the
cloak.
invisibility cloak.
Honestly, if he was under there, he could look at her Hermione, couldn't he? Like, ooh.
No, because his mate was in love with Hermione. It would have been wrong. They couldn't do that. It does bring up a good question. Did these all these boys live in the same room? When did they have time to jerk off?
Here's something I want to ask about Harry
That's
Potter.
the invisibility cloak.
Because here's something. If Harry Potter...
Hold on. So you just come up with Lara just come up with this great point. That's what the invisibility cloak is for. Imagine being in a room with no one about, and all you can hear. What the fuck?
I found a massive flaw, though. If Harry Potter is so magical, why does he wear glasses? Yeah.
Can't fix
Well, that's fuck you for bringing up valid questions. That's not okay.
it. Not a doctor. That's one.
Is that the invisibility cloak a Horcrux at that is a jizz rag?
Oh, it fucking stinks in here.
Eventually, it's gonna stop being a invisibility cloak and be like the somewhat see-through white invisibility cloak. I can't see it a little bit in your midsection. I can not see it at all.
It's like that scene out of Family Guy where they bring Chris's fucking blanket down and chuck it on the floor and it smashes because it's
I was going to think of the Yankee blanket. I was.
the Yankee blanket. Oh, that's great.
All I hear is that her fucking beloved character was jerking off into the invisibility.
And to answer your question about why does he wear glasses, has anybody ever asked if there's glass inside those glasses? Because he could just be a psychological genius and be like, "Oh man, you wouldn't punch a kid with glasses, would you?" When really he doesn't need them.
Well, maybe. Okay, well, I'll offer fan theory right now. Maybe when he got the scar, it impeded his fucking vision when he did that from the bright light or burning out his cornea, because it's magical, and we all know that magical things like that can't be taken away. Fucking, that's what happened. So
I've got a Harry Potter scar, exact
You do?
same shape. Yeah, I got stabbed in the face, and
it's not magical at all.
it's not magical at all. No, it's not.
It's the most magical thing I've ever heard.
What?
The least magical thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I got stabbed in the face, and I can't do magic out of my wand. Although I can create babies out of my wand. That's a great thing.
You know what's magical? Ron being a ginger and getting out of the friend zone. Now that is some magic right there.
Oh, I love it. That was fantastic. That was so good. Okay, look.
What do you think? Where Hermione was like, "Yeah, I guess, Ron," and then he was fucking in.
Wearing her down all those years.
Grinding away at that stone, and then finally he came back, like when they had to take the sword out of the fucking lake in the last book, and he's all like, "I am Ron," and fucking stabs the necklace and shit, and bam.
I mean, to be fair though, if I was in the Harry Potter universe, I want to go say Voldemort, got your nose.
Got you. Oh, I don't want this episode to end. I don't want this episode to end. It's ended off so funny. Just taking the piss out of Harry Potter. But no, Ash, thank you very much for joining us on this week's show. We can have you on again, man. You've been a delightful guest. Me and Tom.
Thank you very much for having me on.
It's been really
You guys are
good.
both fun. Very good guests.
Woo.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this show, like I was saying about Mikey Stewart with Scare Track, he has a very organized way of kind of interviewing people. He's very good with his questions, gives us the guests time to talk, and then he just gives them a lot of time so he can get on with the rest of his show without interrupting them. And we've just been like, "Oh, this and that," and then you guys have been sat in the background. So thank you for being patient and putting up with our really dodgy way of interviewing people.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really good. I've actually written to the BBC because I'm starting off to do a different show, which is family friendly, based around the area. Okay, so I'm after funding. I'm doing all this. I wanted to say this because if anybody listens to the show and they fund projects, all I need is a couple £100 to get this project on the way. I'm trying to start a local podcast based on Shrewsbury, about Shrewsbury and about things in Shrewsbury and surrounding areas as well, of course. And so this is going to be family friendly. And like the point I was trying to make when I emailed the BBC is that when I speak to you guys, we're R-rated, we can swear. So be like, "Hey Ash, what the fuck's going on, bitch?" Like I can do that, and it's a lot easier way to interview people. when you can't swear and you've got to sound like you know what the hell you're talking about, there's a certain technique you've got to use to interview
It
people.
adds on to the pressure instead of taking it away.
Exactly. So, like, listening to Mikey interview that lady was quite inspiring, really. So I'm going to see if I can sit in with a few interviews at the BBC. So, yeah, hope to see where that goes.
Yeah, but BBC's gonna get to the part of the recording when they're like, "Did he just say invisibility cloak jizz rag?" And they're gonna.
Well, actually, I asked because I've got this this great logo that's transparent, and my idea is to get listeners to send in pictures of Shrewsbury surrounding area, and we just smash the logo on top of the picture, and then we give them a shout out and say congratulations, your picture's on the show, la la la, and it gets away people to get involved. But I've asked for there's a local photographer that I got in touch with, and I said, can you help us out with a few stock photos? And he was like, yeah, okay. And he goes, I've got a question to ask though. So I've just listened to a couple of episodes of like Thors-Kin, and it's F this and F that every other. He goes, you're not going to be doing that in the Shrewsbury podcast, are you? I was like, absolutely not, no way. It's so funny to hear an elderly, more mature, should I say, take on what we do. But yeah, it's been a great show. Have you got anything to add, Tom? Any questions you want to ask Ash?
No, but I do want to talk to you after the show really quick. So let's cut this out because I got other things I got to do too. But I love hearing about your guys' projects. I loved hearing about the whole thing. And you can hear my kids getting restless in the background. No one's dying, I promise you. It just sounds like yeah, I love everything you're doing, man. I'm gonna check out your stuff. And as soon as we're done, I want to talk to you about something. So
okay.
Thank you very much.
Wicked. Thank you very much for coming on, Ash. We're going to put the links on YouTube for his animated features. Make sure you check them out because they're really good. I'll get in touch. I'll let you guys know on the show when we're going to be releasing Incognito. I'll let you know any more. And Ash, if you want us to help you promote your project, you're very welcome to do so. You're part of the family, sir, and we'll do what we can to push your project forward. Okay.
Thank you very much. That'll help a lot. That will.
Yeah, to all 16 of our listeners. I'm joking. All right, thank you guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe our episode. We'll be back next week. Like I said, we did have a huge list of things to talk about, but we didn't have time. So next week we're gonna have a bumper longer episode because I've really enjoyed chatting to you guys. That's the art of podcasting. If you can just sit there and chat bullshit and enjoy yourselves, then that's podcasting gold. I enjoyed it.
Army of life.
It is because I mean, like in real life, let's say I went over to visit Alex, and me and Alex met because we have a similar interest in Kevin Smith. We were walking down the road, and we didn't, he didn't know about you guys. I didn't know about you guys. We just kind of passed each other. Maybe we wouldn't have had a conversation, or maybe we wouldn't, have even clicked at all. But because of this, we now, at least I now know you on like 4 different levels of coolness.
Oh, that's nice of you. Right, anyway, guys, we're going to get out of here. Like, share, subscribe, give us some love, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out, everyone.